Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we're ranking every single badge in NBA 2K20 in tiers F through S. We're going to start from the bottom, go to the top. A lot of y'all who have been subbed, you know I rank these badges in tiers amongst just the group itself. So we got finishing, shooting, playmaking, and defense. In the past, all I've done is rank them in tiers between just its categories. So I'm talking just finishing, or just shooting, just playmaking, or I've even ranked builds in tiers, or pie charts, whatever it may be. But anyway, today's video, we got every single badge getting put in the same ranking category. So if y'all enjoy, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. Let's try to get 500 in the first 24 hours on this video as well. I'd really appreciate that. But anyway, moving along into the F tier, and feel free to leave any feedback. Tell me what you disagree with, agree with, all types of stuff like that. Listen, I understand there's going to be at least one disagreement that all of you watching have, because this is 75 badges being put into 7 tiers. So there's going to be a lot of disagreement, and just know I shrunk everything to fit the actual ranking of where I want things. So I didn't just be like, oh, I'm running out of room, I gotta put this badge that doesn't belong in a certain category in a different one. So just understand I shrunk the text and made everything fit if it didn't, and we're just gonna go through this. This may be a little bit sloppy too, so I just gotta get all that stuff out of the way. But anyway, let's get straight into this. So in the F tier, the consensus behind the rankings that I have of these badges, they're all the ones that are literally completely useless. So you got the 3 takeover ones right here with Showtime, Fast Break Finisher, and Heart Crusher. And when I say useless, I mean they don't even work. So if these badges did work, I think it'd be a really good improvement. Like, I would use Showtime all the time on my finisher, or even Pierce Lasher, or whatever it may be. I would always use Showtime because the idea of it and the takeover boost that you would give your teammates and yourself sounds really cool. And same with Heart Crusher, to be able to take away the takeover meter of your opponent. They all sound like really good ideas. It's just they didn't execute this year, and they still haven't patched it or anything to fix these 2 badges. And then Fast Break Finisher, just like I said, doesn't work. So then you have the fake ones. You got Pump Fake Maestro, you got Dream Shake, and then Pass Fake Maestro. So obviously, you know, I've talked about this in the shooting badge video I did a couple days ago. I think the idea behind all 3 of these badges was to fake out the CPU. Does it still do it? Honestly, y'all, I don't know. I don't try these out in my career. But the fact of the matter is, they don't work in the park. They don't work in 2v2, 3v3, 5v5 Pro-Am, Rec, whatever it may be. So that's why, boom, you got all these on the F tier list. This is not really a my career video. It's, like I said, more specifically tailored to the Pro-Am scene, the 3v3 park, the 2v2 park, whatever it may be. So moving along to E tier. These are the ones that do work, but they're still very low value in my opinion. So you got Cross Key Score, Pick and Roller, Trapper, Lightning Reflexes, Ice and Veins, Slippery Off Ball, Flexible Release, and then Stop and Go. So we'll start with Stop and Go. I just feel like a lot of people, you see people doing quick stops and stuff like that too, and you think that it requires this badge, but it's actually just a skill-based thing where you flick down on your stick, shoot it right away, and long story short, people do that without any stop and go. Honestly, if they added this badge in, I would say it would do exactly what those guys do with the quick stops. If you're an experienced point guard, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That little flick down on the stick and just shoot it right away. But like I said, if they added this badge, I feel like it would literally just make it so you have to equip it to do that move. But long story short is, you can do all that stuff and you don't need this. Or if they added this, I think they should definitely make it easier to stop without using the right stick. So for instance, all my friends that I've played 2K with, whether it be like my league or stuff like that, or I hop on the park with them, they complain about how they can't stop moving when they're just using their left stick. And it definitely takes a lot of skill to be able to quick stop like that. But again, if they just added this badge in, it would make a whole lot of sense if the left stick movement was able to, you know, stop you from moving, basically. But anyway, Slippery Off Ball. Best badge to use if you're an inside big with your 1 shooting badge, but is it good use if you're anything else? Not really. If you're a legend pure sharp, I would definitely recommend using this on Hall of Fame just because you have nothing better to put it on. But other than that, there's a lot better shooting badge points that you could use for anything, so Slippery Off Ball is not really necessary. Flexible Release, we already talked about as well in the video 2 days ago. Honestly, I'm going to be reiterating myself on the shooting badges quite a bit from 2 days ago, but same deal. My homie AK, he uses this 6-1 play sharp or 6-2 play sharp in the stage, and he thinks Flexible Release actually helps him hit his slightly earlys and slightly lates. I don't know how much I believe that personally, but even if, and I'm just going into it assuming that that doesn't actually work, but even if it just helps you hit lates and earlys, it still belongs in the E tier. It's not absolutely horrible like these badges, but obviously, you know, there's only so much help you can get for hitting lates and earlys. So anyway, Ice and Veins works in Team Pro-Am obviously and Rec, but like I said, just for it's the same case as like Slippery Off Ball. It's just it's okay to use if you're an inside big because you have nothing better to use it on. But I mean, it doesn't work in park, obviously, and for the rate of, if you have shooting badges that you want to use, it's not generally gonna be worth your badge points. So Trapper and lightning reflexes. So lightning reflexes we know works now because Mike Wang finally tweeted about this, but it just pops up some orange indicator on where they think that, you know, the person you're defending is gonna move to. It's the biggest lie. It doesn't matter. Like that's just a bad idea of a badge in the first place. If this made it so you moved quicker, like laterally, like could shift your movement from left to right easier, that'd be awesome. Like that'd be so cool. And I don't know. Or if it had an indicator on maybe when to go for steals and stuff like that, and it gave you like the best time to go for like the pokes, I think that'd be super cool. But again, the function of it just pops up some orange arrow as to where they think the person you're defending is gonna go. Trash badge, not really worth having, but it still at least works. And then we got Trapper. I feel like I've seen some people use this on bronze and Team Pro-Am, and it's cool and all, but there's just not too many instances where you get two people on ball like super tight and the team can't do anything about it. That's just some bot stuff if you can't beat presses with two dudes fully on one guy. But anyway, pick and roller and cross key score. Cross key, it still works, but again, I just don't think there's too much function of it. If there's one thing that I can attest to this, it definitely helps you hit those stupid close range fades and stuff like that. Like I'm talking the off dribbles, but like I said, you can already hit those without this badge anyway. It doesn't really matter. And then pick and roller. You're gonna hear the same thing from me as far as pick and popper goes, but with pick and roller, I just wish this badge activated on slips. Like for instance, anybody who's new to the channel and you haven't really watched me play, I do a whole lot of slipping as an inside big man when they play sides defense and stuff like that. And if it helped you finish on the corner help defender or in Team Pro-Am, like, you know, any help defender, it'd be really cool. But the fact of the matter is you have to hit him with the screen, and it's not going to be very often that you score in pick and roll off a screen unless, you know, the big steps all the way up or there's no help defenders or rotation or anything like that. So again, just not really my favorite thing as far as like the fact that it doesn't activate on slips. So again, same thing with pick and popper. I'll just get that out of the way right now. I don't like the fact that you have to hit somebody with a screen for the badge to activate. However, it makes the most sense because you can definitely exploit it. You can just hold B and move or something like that. There needs to be like a range or like a, you know, like a proximity thing as far as nearness to the defender that you're trying to screen, basically. Like if you get within like 2 feet of him or like 3 feet of him, boom, I feel like those badges should activate. But anyway, let's move from left to right on those, and I'm gonna skip over pick and popper when we get to that point. So putback boss on bronze actually enables you to get putback dunks, and I don't know if any of y'all knew about that, but that's probably the reason I haven't even done a putback dunk all year. And it's crazy because I every single year have at least like probably 15, 20, 25, something like that. But again, it's just kind of annoying that you have to put one badge point into this to be able to get putback dunks. And for my liking, if you grab an O board and go right back up with it on a contested standing layup, it's already a bad rate. I don't think you should be taking that shot no matter what. And you even be like, oh, but if I have this on Hall of Fame, maybe I could hit like 80% and stuff like that. It's still a horrible badge, bro, and you'll probably get blocked like 40% of the time at least. So anyway, Lob City Finisher. I would say as an inside big, this is still a necessity for a badge, but it doesn't really increase your rate that you finish them all that well. I will say on Hall of Fame, I suppose it's like really important as far as an inside big goes, but you gotta know what you're doing as far as like, you know, long story short, you cannot throw lobs straight over people's head that are just camping paint. Like lobs are meant to beat hedge defense. You have to reel the big out of the paint, and then your guard throws the lob over his head. He can't recover, and if your guard didn't throw a lob, I'm gonna put it like this: if your guard didn't throw a lob right there, you're gonna get swarmed. You're gonna get blocked. It's gonna be rough. But again, the whole function of the lobs are to beat hedge defense. Again, I'm not gonna try to spend too much time on every individual badge because we got a whole lot to go through here. So teardropper, I use this in my career, believe it or not. You can really get good shooting badge points for deep floaters, even if you're like a pure slasher. But long story short, it's not really worth having as far as like park and stuff goes. However, if you want to use this as an outside guard, like a 6'1" PLAYSHARP or PLAYSHOT, whatever you want to call it, and you know you don't really have anything better to use your finishing badge points on, I will say floaters still work pretty good. It's just the fact that for most people with finishing badges, it's not worth putting any of them onto this. And then for drop stepper, I would say I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm sleeping on this badge as far as like what it does for you as a post score, but I just feel like drop steps aren't really all that good this year because standing layups aren't that good this year either. So if you don't dunk it, it's probably not the best rate, but you guys get what I'm saying. Anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna like explain myself on every single one for 30 seconds. I gotta keep this kind of short too because this is gonna turn into like a 40-minute long video if I don't. So Tireless Defender, I would say it's a really good badge to have if you can't afford Gatorade and stuff like that too, because if you can't afford Gatorade, and I would say the same thing with Relentless Finisher that's up in the C tier, if you can't afford Gatorade, those badges probably go up a tier. Relentless probably goes into B, Tireless goes into C, maybe even B as well, because if you can't afford Gatorade and you're like fighting through screens as a guard, you're gonna struggle. I mean, like when you hit blinking red, your defense goes to complete garbage. Like it's really hard to deal with. And then for pickpocket, I would just say I've experienced what it's like to steal the ball with 30 steal rating and no pickpocket, and then also I have a pure lock too that has 99 steal rating, and I still don't use any pickpocket, and I can steal the ball crazy good. So I don't have any, I don't have any judgment to like say this badge belongs any higher or any lower. I think D tier is the perfect spot for it. And again, we're just gonna keep moving along. So deep fades, we talked about this in the shooting video 2 days ago. Honestly, the close range post fades are so dang OP, bro. Like it's just so unstoppable in the first place, whether it be a point guard, a big man, doesn't matter. The closer you are, the more likely it is to go in. And even if you have the badge on, it's still not worth my liking, in my opinion. Now, if they would fix those close range post fades and buff the shot contest and made it so what it actually looked like you were getting contested on a post fade was what it is, then deep fades would be more important. I feel like it's harder to contest those deep range ones because you got more to worry about. You're trying to stop them on the post spins. You got all types of stuff like that. They might even just back up and pull a jump shot. But long story short, I don't think this badge is all that necessary. Just the fact that the close range ones are so OP. And then we got Tireless Shooter. Same thing as Tireless Defender, honestly. If you don't have any Gatorade, it might be something that you look into. But honestly, for the shooting badges, it's just that there are so many dominant ones in this B, A, and S tier that you just can't afford to put things like Tireless Shooter on. And I don't know, for my liking, it's like I said, the same thing with Pick and Popper. It's just the fact that it doesn't work like Pick and Roller with like not hitting a screen. And again, for most builds, like even a rim sharp, you're probably going to want something like Hot Zone Hunter, Catch and Shoot, range extender, all types of stuff like that. Obviously quick draw before you get Pick and Popper. So it's kind of tough to like rank these because all of them are equally not going to be used like as these shooting badges. But then we have Lob Passer. Again, same thing as Lob Finisher. I feel like the alley-oops themselves, like the function of it, works pretty good if you have solid pass accuracy and solid finishing ability. But I feel like the badges themselves aren't really all that dominant. And then we got tight handles. So this right here, it was probably A tier 2 or 3 months ago, honestly. Before the patch where they took the behind the back out, this right here is the perfect marriage with that. I'm talking that behind the back would stun you like crazy. And I feel like 2K, all they had to do was fix one. They either had to nerf tight handles or they had to nerf the behind the back. And for my liking, I don't really like that they took the behind the back out. I feel like if they just took tight handles out, it would have been good. It would have been perfectly fine. But long story short, it still doesn't really work all that well with any move other than the behind the back. So effectively, they kind of took both of them out. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, this B tier and C tier are loaded. Like I'm talking, there are so many badges in here. So I'm gonna kind of accelerate through this a little bit. Relentless Finisher, like I was talking about, the fatigue and stamina is really what this depends on. If you can't get Gatorade or anything like that, this instantly moves up to the B tier. But the fact that you can, I only use this on bronze for my liking. And like I said, I completely understand if you don't use Gatorade, then I feel like the value of this moves up a little bit. And that's really the same thing with Giant Slayer. If you're a 6'1" point guard, like a BP build, or even an outside PLAYSHARP with finishing badges and stuff like that, I feel like your value goes up depending on how short you are. So understand, this is kind of just a consensus rating of just a broad standpoint. Like I'm talking Giant Slayer as a badge kind of fits into my C tier because I don't think it's as good as the B tier ones. But if you're a 6'1", then it probably moves into the A tier. Same thing with like, what was it earlier? Like I was talking about. Oh yeah, well, I guess that's kind of different, but how tight handles was an A tier because of the behind the back. Y'all get the deal. Anyway, moving along. We got deep hooks. I feel like this is kind of the same thing as deep fades. The closer you are, the better. However, this one is a little bit more usable, just the fact that it always moves you out and further away from the basket when you do the hook, whereas the fade, you even move in on half of them, depending on which side you fade to. But anyway, Deep hooks, like I said, pretty much the same thing. However, it just is a little bit more important. And then consistent finisher, pretty important badge to have if you have your meter on. If you have your meter off, it becomes a little bit less important because you can actually time your layups. I don't know how many of y'all actually know about that, but if you have your meter on, it's always late, very earlys or very late, and you don't get any, like, you know, slightly early, slightly late layups and stuff like that. It's really stupid. But anyway, moving along. Interceptor, really good badge. However, I just feel like if you have good steal rating, you don't need this badge. And I see a lot of locks that use it on Hall of Fame, and they already have 95 steal rating. I just feel like it's not necessary to do that. I feel like there's better defensive badge use and defensive badge points and stuff like that. And especially the way I like to play defense and the way I preach to play defense, basically, as far as like being versatile and stuff like that. I feel like there's a whole lot better badge points you could use. And I myself am not a fan of Interceptor, but because everybody else is, I decided to move this up because I knew y'all would feel some type of way if I had this in like the D tier or something like that. But for my liking, it's definitely in the D tier. Like, I don't use this too often. Off-ball pest, really good for specific situations. So I'm talking corner defense and stage, or the 5v5 Pro-Am. Now, I wouldn't use this on 2s. I wouldn't use this in 3s on Park because it's a whole lot of like randomness. But then again, actually, maybe off-ball pest could be good on 3s Park because nobody's just going to sit in the corner and like stay still because, you know, randoms and stuff like that. But anyway, I don't mean to offend anybody. But anyway, Worm, I have this in the C tier. Now, I will say the taller you go, the more important it is to have this. So I'm talking for 7-3s in specific, probably in the B tier or A tier. But for my liking, just in general, I think Worm is a little bit overrated of a badge. You can kind of run around somebody rather than rely on your strength and height to like swim move them. But it is still a tough badge to deal with if you have it on Hall of Fame and say I'm only using bronze box or like no box at all, then I don't know. I guess then it becomes more dominant. But anyway, moving truck, same thing as the post move lockdown. It's just I have it a little bit lower just to the fact that people are going to back you down until they get down there. So this only prevents it. Post move lockdown can actually force pickups. It can, you know, create a whole lot more problems. And then we have Pic Dodger. I feel like I should probably move this up a little bit and I'm sleeping on it. However, the thing about it is just it feels so useless sometimes. Like, I'm talking, it's so frustrating when you like just have this on Hall of Fame and you constantly run into picks and you can't get around them, forces you to play sides defense with the Hall of Fame Pic Dodger. It's really just kind of disgusting if we're being real. So then we got Hot Start. This is really good in 2v2 and 3v3. However, it's still almost not worth using at all, but maybe I'll use it on bronze if you're a 6-1 PLAYSHARP, or say just whatever you are if you have 20 shooting badges that go to Hall of Fame as well. But y'all get the deal. For Team Pro-Am, I would never use this at all. It's just the fact that if you miss one shot, then you're done for the rest of the game and it doesn't work. Difficult shots. 2K Labs talking about how this got a buff, and it is pretty interesting to see those fades on 2v2. However, on 3s, I don't think this is the most necessary badge. Same for Pro-Am, honestly. Like, fades are never really going to be like a meta or a way to go. Then we got Steady Shooter and Clutch Shooter. So Steady, the higher your 3-point rating, the more useful it is. I'm going to put it like that. If you have low 3-point rating, I would never put this on. All it does, in case anybody doesn't know, it makes your open shots worse, but your contested shots better. Now, I'm not saying you shoot better contested than you do open. I'm just saying it increases your contested shots and decreases your open shot rating, essentially. So then you got Clutch Shooter. This activates at, I believe, 12 points in 2v2 or 3v3, I think. And, you know, if it's a close game within any range of that, then this helps you as far as your shooting ratings go. And it's actually a pretty good badge. Again, I would use things like Hot Start and Clutch Shooter on bronze, at least if you're playing 3s. At least try it out on bronze and then maybe transition from there. But anyway, I have Break Starter in the C tier. I would say for my own liking, I never even have to use this badge because I have a 6'9" big that I really love to use, and it has 79 pass accuracy, and I don't need this in the slightest. However, builds that have low pass accuracy definitely need this, but I think y'all are definitely gassing this badge up a little bit. Everybody be like, oh, I got gold breaks, or I got bronze break starter on, I can make them passes, and then they definitely don't. But anyway, as far as the need of the badge, it's pretty important in the right situations. However, in 2s and like 2v2, even 3v3, it's a little less, you know, useful. And then we got post spin. I would say it's definitely one of the more dominant post badges rather than, like I said, drop stepper or deep hooks or deep fades, whatever it may be. You can still, like, you know, contort your way around the post with this pretty well, but it's not exactly the most dominant thing in the first place. I don't know. I just feel like straight aggressive back down is really the way you can get stuff done until people start pulling the chair on you. Then you definitely need some post moves. But Downhill, I like the function of it. However, it's not the most dominant badge. It's just a really good, useful one to have in the right situation. Now, I probably gas this up a little bit because I myself am like sort of a hybrid big man. So me at 6'9", I got really good speed. When I grab rebounds, boom, I'm out in transition, and these bigs cannot keep up. And same goes for Pro-Am too. And the spacing, if it's good, then boom, I can just kick out and distribute where I need to. It's a really good badge. It's just the oftenness of it popping up is a little bit less, where, like I said, it's kind of just for, you know, coast to coast rebounds. Now, it does work for a guard as well if you get the ball in transition, but for 3v3, most of the time, if you're leaking out, you're already gone. Like, there's not much room on 3v3 to just catch an outlet pass and go. So that's my opinion on Downhill. It's a good badge, but it's not all the most useful. And as far as ankle breaker goes, I think maybe I'm overrating this, and let me know what y'all think too, but this is honestly, I've seen people get snapped, really, and I do see ankle breaker pop up every now and then too, and I think people are kind of underrating it in a sense, but maybe I'm just overrating it at the same time. Anyway, I'm gonna move along. We got Acrobat, Back Down Punisher, Pro Touch, Pic Dodger, Rebound Chaser, Box, Post Move Lockdown, Volume Shooter, Green Machine, Catch and Shoot, Unpluckable, Bailout, Space Creator, and Needle Threader. So we'll start from the left, go to the right. Again, I'm gonna try to keep this a little bit short. So Acrobat, really good for the hop dunks, as far as if you don't actually get the dunk off, and it just helps in that sense. And I mean, if you're into the Euros and stuff, go for it. But I feel like for my liking, it's just to make hop dunk that turns into layup essentially. Back Down Punisher, probably the best post move badge in the game. Like I was saying, post spin is second in my opinion, and for my liking, just being able to move people in the post without having to actually do any moves is pretty dominant. And the fact that if you have this thing on Hall of Fame with, you know, say like really good strength and stuff like that, you just move people around easy, even if they have moving truck. And that's why I don't like moving truck all that much. But then you have Pro Touch, where this isn't exactly for slashers, right? I'm saying like Pro Touch is kind of a trash badge for slashers just because of the stupid fact that, like I was saying, you can't time your layups. It's really frustrating. But as far as post scores, that's where it becomes a little bit different, because that's where this is instantly. And when I say the best post badge, I mean like just for only post scores specifically. But I would say Pro Touch is considered a post score badge at this point too. And I mean, this helps on the post hook so much, and it really just makes it so freaking dominant, bro. Anyway, okay, so moving along to the defense, I didn't even realize I have Pic Dodger on here twice. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that kind of embodies the fact that I really don't know where to put this. I was speaking on this too, how I feel like I should put it up into the B tier. For the realisticness of this though, I'm gonna go ahead and just take it out of the B tier, because I feel like to go with the C is kind of true. I wouldn't put on the same level as these three badges right here: Post Move Lockdown, Rebound Chaser, and Box. And for the effectiveness level, I wouldn't put it on the same thing as any of these either. So again, I think Pic Dodger definitely sits well in this C tier ranking right here. So then we got Box and Rebound Chaser. I put these hand in hand. However, I think Box is more useful than Rebound Chaser, but I put Rebound Chaser up higher because I know those 7-3s and the people with low vertical and like low speed and stuff, you need this badge to be able to move well on those rebounds. Me personally, since I have good mobility, I don't really need it quite as much, and I definitely depend on the Box. But Box is a good badge for anybody to have, whether you even be an outside point guard who's boxing out from the corner or stuff like that. I just feel like this is a really glue badge to have, and it definitely belongs right here. Maybe the A tier, but you're gonna see the A tier badges, and I just think Box doesn't really compare to it. But anyway, we got Green Machine. I would say this badge gets overrated by a lot of people, in my opinion. I think B tier is the right place to put this for sure. As far as, I mean, yeah, it helps you like green after you already greened 2 of them, but I mean, then you got to green a 3rd, and at that point, if you've already greened 3 shots in a row, I feel like that's just your own stick skill letting you do that, rather than, you know, the game in the Green Machine function. I will say this badge on like a low level is worth having. I just don't think this is worth having on Hall of Fame. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, and y'all can let me know. Volume Shooter, for all the ball hugs out there. I know that was just a joke, honestly, too. But I mentioned that in my other video, but it's honestly just a joke. But like, for real, for all the ball hogs out there who, you know, run point guard and put up 10 shots a game, great badge to have. I'll just leave it at that. Catch and Shoot changes the game as far as like, you know, the lockdowns, being able to shoot and stuff like that. Really good. However, apparently, you know, bronze or silver is the max level that you should use this. I personally use it on gold with my Pierce Slasher, and I love it. So anyway, Unpluckable, a little bit overrated of a badge. I feel like a lot of people feel like they need it on Hall of Fame or like stuff like that. I would say for my liking, I see a lot of my point guards use this on like bronze or silver and stuff like that, but they do have good ball control too. So I don't know. I guess I don't really know how to feel about it. Honestly, let me know what y'all think as far as where it belongs, whether it's B, A, maybe C tier. I definitely doesn't belong in S tier though, that's a fact. And then we got Space Creator, basically Ankle Breaker's better brother. It's more successful brother, where you get, I'm telling you, you can drop people like insane amounts of times with this badge on, and especially paired with the shot creator takeover and stuff like that too, it can be super dominant. Bailout, best bronze badge in the game, can't tell me otherwise. This thing on bronze lets you make any passes you want. However, I will say you should probably have good pass accuracy if you do it. The lower your pass accuracy, the more you would need this at a high level, in my opinion. And then Needle Threader to speak to the passing still as well. Really good badge, honestly. Like, you could maybe even make the case that it belongs in the A tier, but I would just say, I mean, it lets you slide passes past people's faces and stuff like that too, and point guard should always use this. Maybe even like if you're just some role player and you have no idea what to put your other badge point on, maybe you should use this too, because your pass accuracy might be low and your passes are a lot slower, so this would help you get things through, maybe get stolen a little bit less. But anyway, moving along to the A tier, we have some really good badges now. I'm talking, we got Fancy, Slithery, Brick Wall, Chase Down, Rim Protector, Defensive Leader, Clamps, and then we got Floor General over here too. I don't know why, I just skipped over to that because I was thinking D Leader. Clamps, Corner Specialist, Deadeye, Hot Zone Hunter, and then like I said, Floor General, Handles for Days, and Flashy Passer. So I'll start with the Flashy because I feel like people are going to be doubting me if they haven't seen this. I'm telling y'all, this is the most slept on badge in 2K20 still. I can't believe people don't like know about this badge, and like a lot of people are gonna be questioning me and saying like, oh, that thing's trash, what are you talking about, how the heck does Flashy make it in the A tier over like Unpluckable and stuff like that? Honestly, here's the thing about it, 2 flashy passes to me and I get my takeover as a slasher. I'm telling y'all, like it takes 2 dunks for me to get my takeover, and then I have takeover the whole game. Boom, it runs out at like 12 points. Oh, what do you know? I got 2 more flashy passes, and boom, I got takeover 2 times in one 2v2 game. It's crazy. But anyway, let's mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna start from the playmaking side. We got Handles for Days, very necessary for outside point guards or just dribblers and stuff like that too. I think the value on it runs a little bit lower for ISO. However, just because of like, boom, you could just run to the paint. If they sag off on you, shoot it. If they play too tight, run to the paint, hop dunk, easy. But as far as like the outside point guards, you definitely need this for like pick and roll and stuff like that too. But great badge to have, super effective as well. And then we got Floor General, raises everybody's attributes on your team, and for a role player to use this as well, or even just a point guard to help your corner spot up so your big men shoot, I would say it's pretty important. But for 3v3, if you're a play lock or something like that, you can carry the Hall of Fame Floor General, be able to give your point guard like +4 ball control and 3-pointer, super important. And then you can see your teammates' percentages too. That's not the most important part about it, but anyway, Hot Zone Hunter, really important badge. It's definitely the best A tier badge on here, unless you're talking Fancy or Slithery maybe. But for my liking, and maybe you could make the case for Handles for Days too, but Hot Zone Hunter is a really good badge. It's definitely better than Corner Specialist and Deadeye. It just doesn't belong in the S tier in comparison to the other ones that are up there, in my opinion. But anyway, great badge to have, especially for any point guards, or it changes the game for spot up shooters as well. Same with Corner Specialist for spot up shooters. I mean, this thing really makes it so you can shoot with 53-pointer. It's pretty crazy, but it's true. And then with Deadeye, good for point guards to use. I feel like it's not all that important for locks and corners and like Corner Specialist players to use, but I don't know. I feel like people be sleeping on this badge as far as its like capabilities and what it does. Speaking on AK, my point guard homie who has like the 6'2" PLAYSHARP, he doesn't even use Deadeye. It's kind of crazy if you ask me, but I don't know. Long story short, let's move along. We got Defensive Leader. This one is the more important percentage shower in my opinion. So like I said, in comparison to Floor General, where you can see your own teammates' ratings, or I know it's not the actual percent of making the shot, I think it's the percent to green it, but again, as far as Defensive Leader goes, to see those percentages lets you know what builds are. It's not so much that you know what their percent is, it's just when you can kind of have like a memory book of what percent means what. So I'm talking like a pure lock is around like 4 or something like that, play lock's around like 30 or something, or I think like 28, and then you could see like what a pure sharp would be is like 50 or something. So long story short, really good for identifying what build is what in this game of horrible titles where you have no clue which build is which. And on top of that too, the fact that it boosts all your teammates' defensive attributes by 4, pretty nice. It's just, it's sometimes hard to figure out who to have this as far as like on 3v3. I wouldn't use this on 2v2 either, just for my liking. There's not enough people that it helps for it to be worth using 4 badge points on. But anyway, clamps, obviously a glue badge for any perimeter defender. You need this to guard ISO, and if you don't have it, you should definitely have a whole lot of chase down and rim protector. That's all I'm gonna say, because people will get past you if you don't have this badge and you can't tell me otherwise. Anyway, rim protector, great badge as well. It boosts your takeover really good the higher the level, and it boosts your teammates takeover too. So for you bigs who want to help your point guard out too, this is a great badge to use, and it just helps you block shots a lot better as well. Speaking of helping you block shots, we got chase down, and this for my liking is a really underrated badge. I still love this thing. Earlier in the year, I put this badge on as far as like how good it was, and it was dominant. Like I'm talking, I had this with Pogo Stick in the S tier and like Intimidator and stuff like that, but I feel like they definitely nerfed it over the course of the year. But it's still a really great badge to have, whether you're guarding ISO, guarding corner, guarding the big man, trying to hedge for your point guard and return back to the paint. It's a great badge to have, super underrated. And then we got Brick Wall, the glue badge of every screen game, whether it be pick and pop or pick and roll. You need this badge if you're a screener. It's simple as that. So then we got Slithery Finisher. This helps in every situation of dunking. I put this badge on as well early in the year as far as like how effective it was. And honestly, what it's turned into as well is it makes like those baseline dunks so dominant and so OP, and it's so frustrating at how much people slide by you on that. But again, just in general, Slithery Finisher helps you finish a whole lot more, and it definitely belongs in the same breath as Fancy Footwork. So speaking on Fancy, I thought this badge was complete trash early in the year, and then I found out about Long Athlete Layup Package. So I was using Crawford, and it's completely useless to use Crawford with Fancy Footwork. Like I'm talking, it's too slow of a layup package. Now, what really makes Fancy Footwork dominant, like I said, is the fact that Long Athlete Layup Package is in the game. That thing is too quick and too hard to deal with, and I'm just saying it completely changes the game. So Fancy would definitely take a hit, sort of like Tight Handles did, if the Long Athlete package just got took out of the game, same as the Behind the Back got taken out of the game. But for where we're at right now, Fancy Footwork is definitely an A tier badge. So now we got Contact Finisher, Intimidator, Pogo, Quick Draw, Range Extender, Dimer, and Quick First Step. The only one that I feel like you can make the case doesn't belong in here, maybe even two. You could maybe say Pogo belongs in the A and Dimer belongs in the A. But for my liking, these are the god tier badges. Like I'm talking, these things are like the best things in the game, really. Like Contact Finisher, you can't make the case that this is not the top finishing badge and that it belongs in the same breath as these ones. I mean, this thing, as far as like a true slasher that has contact dunks, this thing enhances your game so much. And it's really like I said, a must-have badge, and it's as simple as that. So anyway, to move along, we got Intimidator. This right here, I think earlier in the year it didn't have the best like influence, but at this point in the game, using this on Hall of Fame is the only way to go. It just makes people miss shots so easy, and combined with good shot contest rating like interior defense or perimeter defense, crazy game changer. It literally makes people miss wide open shots half the time, even just because you're like right below them under the hoop and stuff like that. And it definitely works on lobs and stuff like that too. I feel like I'm selling it short by just talking about that because it helps on perimeter defense too, and it works for, like I said, it works for anywhere on the court. So that's what really makes this badge so good, is its utility and usefulness. And then we got Pogo Stick. Obviously this is the 2v2 mecca. Like I'm talking, this thing is so important to have if you're an undersized big or even just a real big man. Like I'm talking, but if you're like 6'5" to 6'8", you can literally still play the big on 2v2 just to the fact that Pogo Stick is in the game. And I don't know, like I said, it really just makes it so contested standing layups are absolute horrible. And this year, contested standing layups are like bad. And early in the year, I was thinking you just had to time your jumps really well and you'd be good. But now with Pogo Stick, you don't even have to do that. And I love that they put this badge in the game too, because it's actually really fun and really interesting. But for the sake of like competitiveness, it definitely weighs that down a little bit. It takes a lot less skill to play interior defense and a lot less judgment and timing. But anyway, then we got the shooting badge. We got Range Extender, Quick Draw. These two are the most needed shooting badges in the game. Like I mean, think what I used as my example 2 days ago in my shooting video was, think about if playmaking defenders, like the two-way slash plays, only had bronze range extender, or if they had no range extender at all. You know how much those dudes would have to hug the three-point line when they shoot? And to have gold just makes you feel so comfortable in every situation. And not only that, but we got to get to the whole point of what's actually dominant with this is the PLAYSHARP pick and roll, where bro, I mean, like, to have Hall of Fame range extender is a game changer. Same with like wing spot ups and stuff like that too. The deeper you can go, the better. I mean, it's just a game changer. And then quick draw obviously has to be the most important shooting badge. If you don't have quick draw, you probably have 3 shooting badge points. I'm gonna put it like that. The only time that you should not use this if you like to shoot the ball is as a pure lock, and I would even say as a pure lock you should still use this on at least bronze or silver. But anyway, moving along, you guys get the deal. This is a great badge. And then we got 2 more. Like I said, Dimer and quick first step. So Dimer, I feel like the reason I rate this so highly is because when you play against a pure lockdown that can shoot, it really is frustrating. Like when you play against somebody that has 50 3-pointer and they can shoot, and it's really because of these 2 badges right here. Honestly, if we're being real, I would just say it gets really frustrating at the fact that somebody with 53-point rating can green like every single shot they shoot in the game. And it's really, like I said, a big credit to that is Dimer, and it's a really good badge to have. I feel like it belongs in the S. If you want to make the case that Dimer belongs in the A, I feel you, I understand. And then we got quick first step. Definitely the best playmaking badge in the game. There's no contest to that in my opinion. And honestly, it works for anybody. It works for ISO. You could be a whole big man with this badge on. I've seen literally 7'3" PLAYSHARPs that have like, you know, post score variants, or even like, you know, play slash like post score variants that have playmaking in their build, and they move so quick still with Hall of Fame quick first step, and they might have like 40 ball control and like 35 speed and they still move quick out of those triple threats and jab steps and stuff like that too. Definitely I would recommend, if you're an ISO player though, triple threat is a good way to use this badge. But other than that, I mean, it still works pretty good in the pick and roll sense of like hitting hezzies and stuff like that, and moving off your hezzies. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. Let's try to get this one to 500 likes in the first 24 hours. Like I was saying, I'm surprised I didn't have to make more cuts on this video either. I literally just made one, and the funniest thing was I literally talked about it too. I was like, I'm surprised I didn't have to make more cuts, and then I stumbled on my words like 5 times, and I was like, all right, gotta go back. But anyway, I'm surprised I didn't have to. Like, it was probably, what, 3 cuts through the whole video or something like that, 4 now. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. Like I said, if you did, leave all that good stuff, the likes, comments. Feel free to let me know any like disagreements or agreements you have with this stuff. Leave your feedback. Y'all know the deal. And if you made it to the very end of this super long video, comment your favorite badge, or just put FB favorite badge, and then put what your favorite badge is to show that you made it all the way through to the end of the video. Or if you're lazy and you don't want to think about it, just put badge in the comments to show your support that you made it all the way through this super long video. Anyway, that's all for the vid. Hope y'all enjoyed. And other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.